You shouldn't hang me on a hook. My father hung me on a hook once.
So, you're used to watching VH1's I Love the 80s? Okay, Simon Doonan, hold on tight. Because you can't get enough 1984. Because you still come to blows over which side to butter your bread on. Admit it! This is THR's I Ate the 80s!
I have a certain weakness when it comes to books, a bit of a predilection, a specialty, one might say. I really love mass-market, large-format hardcovers about licensed characters. You know, like this. These were so popular in the 80s, you'd actually see television commercials for them.
If you open the cover and take my hand, we're off to the Care Bear.
You know what other books you saw commercials for back then? Dianetics, and that's about it. They were built to last, featured artwork that was usually far better than whatever cartoon they were advertising, and best of all, they filled out the mythology of those properties that weren't on toy shelves long enough to get their own cartoon. Case in point, Rose Petal Place. Rose Petal Place is the GoBots of Strawberry Shortcake. Strawberry Shortcake lives in a pastry, Rose lives in a flower. That's really the only difference. Another thing I love about these books is how they often have a big who's who at the beginning. I'm Elmer the Elm Tree, and I know everything there is to know about this beautiful garden because I keep it all recorded in my diary. Elmer the Elm Tree is clearly the Mr. Sun of this universe. Also, what does he make his diary pages out of? Does he produce them himself? Rose Petal is the natural leader and protector of Rose Petal Place. She is as talented as she is beautiful and sweet. So in other words, a big dull character with no real distinguishing features. And that always seems to be the fate of these leaders. Sunny Sunflower is Rose Petal's best friend. As is often the case with best friends, they are opposites in many ways. Sunny is a tomboy who always says exactly what's on her mind. You know, things with mostly female casts like this, there's always a tomboy right up in front, so the boys who are forced to watch don't feel too left out. But with something like the Smurfs, you have some more effeminate male character like Vanity Smurf, who's usually kind of pushed to the back. And then there's Orchid and Daffodil and Iris and Lily Fair. Lily Fair? Like Lilith Fair? No way. And then there's Nastina, the villain of the story. She's a spider who wants to bite Rose Petal. She's really cool. She's like Ursula, or maybe kind of like Pearl Forrester. Unfortunately, Nastina's not in this story. It's more of a man versus himself story. Or, you know, if there was a man involved. Our main character in this story is Orchid. And who's Orchid? Why, she's the complainer who's always wrong, as was mandated by several parents' action groups in the 80s. You can look up Mark Evanier's essays about this and how he always had to fight to ever let the complainer do anything, but it's pretty funny how in an era that was so tightly knit against communism, it wormed its way into the cartoons by saying, the group is always right, the complainer is always wrong. It's especially funny in this one because Orchid is the capitalist consumer character. She's so proud of this dress she just bought, she's throwing a party just to show it off. It'll be the grandest party the garden has ever seen. Let's see, I'll have it catered and we'll have tons of flowers dripping from the crystal chandeliers. That sounds perfect, and the dress is perfect on you. Why don't I wrap it up and then we can go out to lunch together? Oh, I couldn't possibly go to lunch. I have a party to plan.
So naturally, Orchid is going completely overboard with this party she's planning.
I'm having Mr. Oscar de la Rhododendron bake the cake. He makes the most divine cakes. Oscar de la Rhododendron? Is that like a pun on Oscar de la Hoya? What's he gonna do, beat the cake into deliciousness? Lily Fair saw her at the dance studio. She thought Orchid looked a bit weary. Miss Ladybug is arranging a program for me. 100 dancers, a chorus of 50, and the entire Coronation Hall Orchestra will perform on a revolving stage. Fountains and revolving stages, this is getting ridiculous.
Sunny Sunflower was right. With all the work she had made for herself, Orchid was becoming tired and cross. By the time PD Centipede arrived to pick up the invitations, she'd worked herself into a tizzy.
Oh, and that's another thing. A lot of the characters in this are bugs, so that's kind of a neat thing, a way of squeezing something a little less mom-approved into a girls' show. So, Public Domain Centipede promises to deliver the invitations, but then he gets involved in a little touch football game with the other bugs and totally forgets. For 3 days! 3 days! He must have been blithering back and forth like, oh god, I'm gonna make it worse, aren't I? Oh, they should have called this book The Centipede's Dilemma. You failed me! So Rose Petal invites Orchid to a rehearsal she's doing just to cheer her up. And that's when they slowly and painfully, at the last minute, work out the most obvious way to solve the problem. We could still celebrate. Without a party? We could have a picnic. A picnic? Just a picnic with sandwiches and weeds and things? Orchid made a face, but no one paid any attention to her. Because she was wrong. Just like you if you ever don't like something that everyone else is doing. There's a picnic ground in the meadow. If everyone brings something to sit on and some food to share, we'll have a lot of fun.
And that's just what they did. And everyone came. Everyone except the cool spider. Sorry, guys. There were kites to fly and songs to sing. PD Centipede showed the little bugs how to throw a pass properly. Even Orchid learned how. I must say, this is fun. My idea of having a picnic was a great one if I do say so myself. It's turned out even better than I thought it would. I'm going to punch her. Wait. I'm going to punch her. I wasn't imagining that. I'm going to punch her. Instantly, Rose Petal Place is way better than Strawberry Shortcake ever was. Rose Petal held her back.
Hold my jacket! Hold my jacket! But she's taking credit for the entire picnic. It was Lilyfair's idea. I know it was, but let Orchid have her day. She's been feeling so bad about her canceled party that it's good to see her smiling again. Yeah, that's certainly the kind of person that you don't like to see wallowing in her own misery that she brought upon herself. You know, let's bail her out. Orchid, too big to fail.